Good morning and welcome to today's webinar entitled Navigating the Woman-Owned Small Business, or the WOSB certification, put on by Norcal PTAC in partnership with the A New America Community Corporation. That's the Women's Business Center of Oakland. So we are excited to get started with you. Today, I'm going to be hosting. I'm the Program Coordinator and Procurement Specialist with Norcal PTAC. I'll talk about what that is in a second. And our feature presentation presenter is Nancy Pigeon, one of our excellent procurement specialists here at PTAC. So we are also joined by Darlene Neal. Darlene Neal is the director of the Women's Business Center of Oakland. And Darlene, let's switch it up and have you go first, and then I'll talk about PTAC in a second.
Yes, wonderful.
We've
Thank you.
done a lot of webinars with Darlene, and we really love working with her. So always great to bring together these forces. We're here to help small businesses. So
yes,
Darlene,
definitely. Thank you, James, for the warm introduction. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Darlene Neal, and I'm the director of the Women's Business Center for Oakland, here located in the Fruitvale District. And so A New America is part of a network of women business centers throughout Northern California that are in part sponsored by the U.S. Small Business Administration. And our goal is to really be a resource for you as small business owners as you come across needs that you may have related to training, technical support, such as what we're going through today, getting you certified, walking you through the process, and providing webinars. Our services are of no charge. And again, we're located here to Fruitvale. Our business hours are Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 p.m. And our email address is there at www.anewamerica.org, where you can check our you can check our website for various information on different webinars that we offer, as well as educational courses that we provide. So look forward to getting some great information today, and feel free to contact us if you need further assistance. And I'll turn it back over to you, James. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Darlene. Again, we really think highly of the WBCs and Darlene especially. And so thanks for joining for all these webinars, helping out the little guys. Okay, so I'll just do a really brief little overview of what PTAC is as well. We're the hosts of today's webinars. Norcal PTAC stands for the Northern California Procurement Technical Assistance Center. It's quite a mouthful. So this is where acronyms come in the whole world of government contracting. Basically, what we do is we're here to help small businesses compete in the government marketplace. So we have a team of procurement specialists that can meet with you individually to go over just about anything you need. So that covers the one-on-one counseling, really anything related to government contracting. We don't assist with grants. We don't assist with business startup, business plans, things like that. But almost anything under the sun related to contracting, we can assist with. We also put on resources and trainings. So for instance, this webinar and all the other ones we host and join. So our procurement specialists share their knowledge out with you. And then we can set you up, if you're a client, with a custom bid matching. So why would you be interested in all of this? Well, if you have a business in our service area, you can see that's on the map on the right there. There's 15 counties in Northern California. So if you have a primary location there, then you're eligible to apply. And then once you apply and you get accepted as a client, you have to have an established business, be in our service area, and be interested in government contracting. Then we can introduce you to these services. The reason why you would be interested in getting help is because, as I said, we can walk you through a lot of things, but also because we help our clients win. There's no guarantees, but we do help our clients win quite a bit of money. So this looks like this is for 2020. It says 314 million, but there's actually an updated slide that didn't get in there. In 2021, we helped our clients win more than $500 million with a B, so $500 million. So that number keeps going up, and that's a lot of dollars to go into the pockets of mostly small businesses in our service area. So it's our passion to help folks succeed. We hope to see your application. You can find that and a whole lot more at norcalptac.org there. Just another note, you're going to get the slides and they'll have all these hyperlinks activated. So if you don't want to take notes, you don't have to. And if you're not in our service area, don't stress out. we think we're a pretty great PTAC, but there's actually a ton of PTACs. There's 96 PTACs, I believe, right now across the whole country, and 7 in California alone. So if you're in somewhere else, if you're in Sacramento area or Los Angeles or something like that, there are other PTACs to apply for, and you can find them there. You can also just Google PTAC and your county, and it tends to come up with the correct resource. All right, so that's my intro spiel. I hope to work with you in the future. And with no further ado, let's hand things over to Nancy Pigeon. As I mentioned, she's one of our excellent procurement specialists here with Norcal PTAC, and nobody's better suited to speak about her experience than herself. So Nancy, go ahead and take it away, and thank you for all the work you put into the presentation.
Awesome. Let me just get situated here. Okay. So good morning, everyone. It's so great to be here and share this information with you. I think, James, do you want to go ahead and put the poll up while I talk about myself just for a minute?
I would love to.
Okay. So just my info's there on the screen. I was in the Air Force. I'm retired. I did 10 years in munitions career field, and then I was lucky to cross-train into contracting, which I did for 12 years before I retired. Then I went into the federal government contracting, and I worked as an Air Force civilian for 2 years. I worked with the Veterans Affairs for 4 years. And then I moved to the Bureau of Reclamation for 4 years. Veterans Affairs and Bureau of Reclamation was in Sacramento. I've been a PTAC counselor. It's almost 3 years now, I think. So I should have updated my slides. Sorry about that. My specialty is federal and California state contracting. But I mostly enjoy working one-on-one with my clients and coming up with a custom plan for getting you into government contracting. So I really enjoy working with my clients. Do we have some answers for that, James, those polls?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. Looks like we got 100% answered. So I'm gonna end the poll, at least on the first, but maybe most folks. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, everyone's answered. Okay. Thanks for participating. That's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll share it out right now, and you can take a look at yourself. But it looks like 70% are intend on getting WOSB certified. That's great.
Perfect. Yeah.
18% considering it, and 12% not sure. Nobody is a no, which is great because we want you to be interested. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
And then the second question is, have you ever done business with the federal government? And it looks like only 2 out of you, 12% have. Most of you have not. So a lot of newbies, and that's great. So
all right, yeah. Well, hopefully this presentation won't chase you away.
That's our hope.
Let's see. Clicking, there we go. Okay. So just a quick disclosure about the slides and the information in it. It's accurate to the best of my ability at this time of the presentation. If there's any provisions or laws or anything that I quote in here, you know, they're subject to change at any time. So if you're watching this in the future, just make sure when you watch it that you check any of the information to make sure it's still accurate. So here's our agenda for today. I'm just going to do a very, very basic overview of WOSB, EDWOSB. If you want more information on that, I do have another webinar I did, and I have a link at the end of the slides that you can watch to get the exact information on the programs. Today is all about how to get through the application and all of the different things that go into it. We'll talk about creating your account in Beta.certify, which is where you go to get certified. We'll do the application highlights. We'll do the economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business, the financials that are required. Then I'll do a little summary and talk about the resources, and then we'll have a Q&A. I told James I may answer questions throughout, so we'll kind of bounce back and forth on questions. It's a lot of material to cover, so I just want to make sure I get to the questions. So here's the basic certification overview. So to be eligible for the Women's Contracting Program, you have to be a small business for SBA size standards, and you can look those up. If you click on that small business link, it'll take you into the size standard tables, and you can check and see if you are a small business. most people who attend this, they already know they're a small business. So, but just make sure per the size standard that you are. You have to be 51% unconditionally owned and controlled by women who are US citizens. So that means that, you know, you own it and you control it, and there's no one else that can take the business from you, or you're not a male who's just put your wife in as a figurehead type of thing. That's what was happening, and that's why they moved to a certification to make sure that it's actually women who are owning and controlling these businesses. And lastly, you have to manage the day-to-day operations and make the long-term decisions. So it's all about women actually managing, controlling, and doing the operations, not a figurehead person. Going. All right, there we go. Okay, so economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. This is where you get into having to provide your financial information. So first of all, you have to meet all the requirements that we just discussed, woman-owned and owning and controlling. Next, you have to have a personal net worth less than $750,000. And you each have to have 350 or less in adjusted gross income average over the previous 3 years. And you have to be owned or controlled by one or more women with 6 million or less in personal assets. So that's a lot to go through. So if you're considering doing the EDWOSB, make sure you look up all the requirements. Oh, and you may have to provide your spouse's income as well, just to make sure you're under that dollar amount. So just if you're considering EDWOSB, talk to your PTAC counselor or talk to Darlene's business there or the center, just to make sure. Like I said, I'm not going to go into depth of what's required for the program. What we're doing today is how to actually apply and going through the application. So first of all, to apply, you have to have a login.gov account and you have to be registered in SAM. So you get your login.gov account when you register in SAM. The UEI is a unique entity ID, and it's taken the place of the DUNS number. So now when you go into SAM, you're automatically assigned a UEI. So that's one change that's happened. If you're used to hearing DUNS number, it's now a UEI, unique entity ID. There are 2 ways to get certified. The one I'm going over today is the SBA certification site, which is free to you. And Darlene's center also helps with the certification. And then certified through a third-party certifier, and this is a fee. So SBA has authorized nonprofits to perform third-party WOSB, EDWOSB certification. And those 4 are listed right here. The El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the National Women's Business Center, known as WeBank, U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce, and this one's WeBank, Women's Business Enterprise National Council. They do charge a fee, and it's usually based on how much your business is earning. I think the lowest amount is $600 to do this for you. And then once you have the certification, you still have to apply through the SBA certification site. So this is a business decision for you on how you want to go about it. You're still going to have to get all the documents to give to the third-party certifier. So you can either get all the documents and do it for free, or if you don't want to mess with it, you can go to the third-party certifier. It's totally a business decision for you. Okay, and then I just throw in the goal requirements because the SBA is responsible for ensuring goaling of small business, and they establish it annually. And the goal for WOSB has historically been 5% Fed contracts. It hasn't changed in quite a while. So I just put a few stats. I'm just going to go ahead and click them all up here. So you can see the last time they made the goal was in FY19. They almost made it in 20. A little short in 21, and right now we're sitting at 3.89, and I did this yesterday, so these are the most current statistics on it. It looks a little low and the spending looks a little low, but we are entering the 4th quarter, and that's when all the spending picks up. So hopefully we'll make 5 this year. that would be nice. It's one of the reasons we try to help women get the certification, so we can help them get their goaling as well. So it's a twofold thing for us. We help women get certified, and then also helps the federal government make their goals. Okay, so we're going to get into creating the account out on the site. So the site that you're going to go to is Beta.certify.sba.gov. That's where they hold the certification. What you're going to do is create an account, but please remember you have to already be registered in SAM and have a login.gov account before you apply for the WOSB, EDWOSB. So if you aren't registered in SAM and you need to, you'll need to do that first, and PTAC can help you do that if you are a client already or you want to become a client. We can definitely walk you through it. It takes about an hour to put in the application, and we're more than happy to walk you through it. It's good to have someone over your shoulder when they're asking all those weird questions that you're not really sure how to answer. You'll click on the orange Get Started button, and then you click on Create Account. I have a red block down here, so you'll do Get Started and then Create an Account. And then you're going to claim your business. You'll click Accept button on the Terms and Conditions page. The login.gov page should appear to log in to login.gov, and then that should take you or log you into the Beta Certify system. If it doesn't, then click the login button on the Beta Certify page, and that'll get you through. Then you're going to claim your business, and this is an important one. The woman with a majority ownership needs to be the one to claim the business. And the person claiming the business should be the government business POC and SAM. So when you're setting up your SAM account, make sure you put the owner as the government business POC, or whoever's going to claim the business. If the majority owner or the woman who owns the business, make sure they're in the government business POC and SAM, because that's going to pull in, it pulls in all the information from SAM, your SAM registration. So don't have someone on your team or anyone else claim the business. It has to be you. So to claim your business, you're going to use that unique entity ID number that I told you about in SAM, the one that took the place of DUNS. You're going to need your TIN, EIN number, which is your tax ID number or your entity ID number from the IRS. And then when you register in SAM, you have to create an MPIN, which is the Marketing Partner Identification Number. And you self-created that in SAM, so you'll need to input that. So if you haven't already registered in SAM, make sure you keep that MPIN number. A lot of people forget what theirs are or what theirs is. Then click Find, and the correct company is returned. So don't claim the company if anything is wrong. If there's anything wrong in the data of what it returns, you're going to have to go into SAM and fix that. And then if there are any other, if it doesn't return your business or it says it's already claimed, then you can go in and do a help ticket in the Beta Certify system and let them know what your issues are. Once you claim your business, it's going to verify your primary NAICS code and the company's associated employee or revenue details. And that is what the basis of your small business size is. So it's either 1, your employee count, or 2, how much revenue you make. And then a note here, if your primary NAICS is not correct, you'll have to go back into SAM and update it. So it's really important that you have your SAM information correct before you come in here and do this. So you might want to do a little review in SAM before you come in here. It'll run the standard checks and confirm that you're considered a small business in accordance with the size standards. So it'll do a little thing in the background and then let you continue. The applicant must be a for-profit business, so you can't be a nonprofit or someone who does like charity work or grant work or things like that. You have to be for-profit. It's going to bring up this page, and it says you're going to mark it yes, you're for-profit, and then you're going to confirm your primary business type. So now if it comes up partnership or limited liability partnership and you're an LLC, obviously there's something wrong in SAM, and you'll have to go back in and correct SAM to the correct primary business type. So it's very important your SAM registration is correct. Then it's going to ask you if you've been debarred. So in SAM, if you do something wrong and the government debars you, you're going to know about it. So, and usually you won't be in here doing an application because you know you've been debarred. It's going to go and check and make sure. Then it's going to get into your eligibility for citizenship. Usually you can do a birth certificate, your certificate of naturalization, an unexpired passport, or your consular birth of a U.S. citizen abroad. And the note here is make sure your legal name matches on all of your documents. So if you're married and you haven't done a name change on everything, you may have to upload your marriage certificate as well. Most people do like their unexpired passport if they have one. That seems to be a popular one. If you have your birth certificate and it has your maiden name on it, you'll want to upload your marriage certificate or some other information that shows the name change. Now, once the owner has claimed the business, they can delegate someone to fill out the rest of the application for them. And this is a very popular way to do it, especially in larger businesses where the owner doesn't want to deal with this. She can sign in, claim the business, and then put a delegate in here. And when that happens, the delegate will receive an email, and then they'll be able to go in and fill out the application on your behalf. They may be able to fill out the application. However, once it's all filled out, the owner will have to go in and do they call it an attestation. I think I'm saying that right. But you're going to just verify all the information and sign it electronically before it's submitted. Okay. And then, James, were there any questions on that section before we go into application highlights?
Yeah, it looks like we do have some questions here.
Okay.
First from Laura is, do WOSBs that were previously self-certified need to recertify under the new process?
Oh, yes, yes. Okay. Yeah, if you self-certified like 2 years ago, self-certification went away 2 years ago in 2020. And so you should have already gone in and got certified. The only way to keep your self-certification is if you're actually under contract with the federal government. Then that self-certification would have gone along with the contract, but you still needed to go in and do the certification. There's no longer a self-certification. I know in SAM you can say you're a woman-owned small business, but that doesn't mean anything anymore. You have to go in to SBA into this system and get certified.
Okay, great. Thanks for that good question, Laura. Next question from Lisa is, I've submitted my SAM application and I have a UEI number, but I'm not active yet. Does that matter in order to certify as WOSB?
Yeah, you have to be active in the system in order to do the application. Otherwise, it's not going to pull anything over. It's just going to say they don't find you. So wait till it's active and then you can go in.
Just be a matter of, yeah. Hopefully it will be active by the time you get all your documents and everything together.
Yeah.
And Laura, again, if you're a sole proprietor, do you count yourself as an employee or would your employee count be 0?
Employee count will be 0.
All right, that's another great question. All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay, so these are the application highlights. So what I've done, I've taken some shots from the actual guide for going through. Some of the things, when I go through this, some of the things in the red are things that have tripped people up or things that you need to know as you're going through it. So the first one's going to be, are you 51% owned? And this screen is very important. If you're just doing WSB, you're going to put no on this bottom question. If you qualify for the EDWOSB based on your NAICS and your economic situation, then you're going to put yes. This is the only place where it splits you up into what you have to apply for. We've had, in the very beginning, people have been marking yes on this, and then they get stuck in an EDWOSB application, and that's not what they wanted to do. So that's why they put this warning on here, and that's why I have a red arrow for it. So just be very careful when you, if you're only going to do a WSB, then mark no on this. And if you're going to do all the financials, then you'll want to mark yes. I'm just saying there's a warning, because once you get in the application, it's really hard to delete the application and go back out and start over. Okay, business sector. Okay, so for a partnership agreement, again, it's 51% of each class of partnership has to be directly, unconditionally and directly owned by the applicant. And the partnership agreement must show that the applicant serves as general partners and control over all partnership decisions. So again, we're talking about women's control and ownership. Now, corporation, this one's all in red because we deal with a lot of corporations and S corps that go in and do their certification. These are the three things that trip them up. You must have a stock ledger and stock certificates, and they must show that the applicant owns at least 51% of all the outstanding stock. I know a lot of like single member corporations, or they did the corporation because it made sense. But they never did a stock ledger. They never did stock certificates. So they have nothing showing any of this. So if you don't have this and you have a corporation, you're going to need to do this before you apply. And again, shows the 51%. And then the articles of incorporation and bylaws must show the applicant controls the board of directors. So these are very important things. Some people just upload their corporation documents from when they first started a corporation and not consider that all these documents must show that you own at least 51% of the business, and they want copies of the stock ledger, and they want the stock certificates front and back. So very important if you have a corporation and you're just a single member, or just a couple of members, and you didn't bother to issue stock or make a stock ledger. Okay, and then the LLCs. Usually people have an article of organization, but they may not have an operating agreement because they're a single member LLC. You need to go ahead and create that operating agreement. There's a bunch of samples out on Google. You can just Google one and just create it. An operating agreement it tells how you're going to dissolve the business if it should dissolve. And a lot of people who are single member LLCs don't bother to do an operating agreement because it's just them. I used to have, in the very beginning, I would have someone type up a Word document saying I'm a single member LLC and I don't require an operating agreement. But they started rejecting those. So now you have to create an operating agreement. And you must be the managing member. So make sure all your articles of organization, operating agreement shows that the woman is the managing member. So there's different, in an LLC, there's members and managing members. For a corporation, it would be like CEO. For a sole source, it would be owner. So make sure all this is strictly laid out in your information in your documents. If not, then you need to make an amendment, make a change. For the sole proprietorship, the only information they really want is if you have a DBA or a trade name certificate reflecting the state filing seal. A lot of times this is done at the county level. The DBAs, sometimes they don't require you to do a DBA, so it's just going to depend on your locality when you're doing a sole proprietorship. Other certifications. Okay, I'm just going to pop all these up. If you're a current 8A program participant, if you've already gone through the program and you're 8A, all you have to do is upload your 8A acceptance letter, and then you'll be done with the application. It takes you right to the end. You can just upload it and they'll go through and approve it. If 51 owned by one or more women, then you'll want to apply for the EDWOSB. Third party, this TPC stands for the third party certifier. Those are the 4 businesses I told you can certify you that will cost you. If you go through them, you can just upload the WSB or the EDWOSB certificate. And again, it'll just take you to the end, you'll attest and be done. because you've already gone through everything. And then if you happen to be certified veteran entity, so if you're a veteran or a WOSB, and you've gone through the VA process with all your documentation, you can just upload that. And again, you'll be done. You'll just upload it and in the filing. So these are good ways to go if you already have these. And I have to say, if you're considering an 8A, you've been in business for a while, I would get the 8A before you apply for the woman-owned small business, because it's not reciprocal. You can get the woman or the EDWOSB, but you still have to apply for the 8A. So if you get the 8A, you can just upload it and you'll get the EDWOSB. So if you're considering 8A, I would do that first. Okay, and then once you have all the documents uploaded, you'll go to the submit application page. That was if you have those certificates. Sorry, I think I confused people. Once you upload all these, you will be directed to submit the application. That's only if you have these certificates. So the highest position, this is an important one. You're going to want to claim as the woman owner of the business that you hold the highest office. You have to do a resume. This resume is about your managerial experience, how you manage the business. They want to know all that, your day-to-day on the business, managerial, and leadership experience. Right there, the yellow link that says what is required in a resume, if you click that, it takes you to a page that says specifically what they're looking for. But you need to make sure you put, at the top of your resume that it's the highest, you're in the highest officer position. So if it's CEO, right, Chief Executive Officer, and then all that those duties require you to do. It's not a typical resume. So you may want to get help from your PTAC counselor to review it for you, or through Darlene's organization as well. You have to have full-time basis and devotion to the business. You can't work another full-time job and then work this job. They want to know that you're actually in this job, in this business, and it's full-time and you can devote full-time to it. Okay, and then everyone contributing to your firm must provide their contribution details. And so this means if you have managing members or people on the board of directors who have a say in the business, they're going to have to fill out the applications as well. And it gives you an example here. If there are 3 owners, 34% woman, 33% woman, and 33% man, each woman in the example must complete an application. And this is required to qualify for WOSB EDWS status and demonstrate that the firm is 51% owned by 1 or more women. So the firm can be owned by 1 or more women as long as that total is over 51%. You can still apply for the WOSB or the EDWOSB. And then if you're going to fill out if you're going to do the EDWOSB, the economically disadvantaged, you have to have your spouse fill out financial information as well. It's one of the requirements. Okay, and each individual participating on the board must complete an application. So, so it goes into a questionnaire. You'll be taken into a questionnaire section, and these are some of the basic questions that they ask. So the owner has to fill this out, and any individual on the board or has a part of the business has to fill all these out. So these are just basic, identifiers. They're going to want to know your firm ownership, and then for the bank account access, they're going to want to know if you have any limitations. I always have people put they have no limitations on the bank account. If you're limited in the amount of money you can withdraw and things like that, it shows you have a limitation on what you can do within the business. You must have full-time devotion. We already talked about that. So outside jobs should be the minority. The majority job that you do should be this business. If you have any business affiliations, you have to notify those, because that will affect how much money you're making, because you have to put your affiliate income in there as well. If you're a federal employee or you have someone in your household that's a federal employee, you have to get a letter saying that there's no objection from the federal agency that you do this certification. This is where you're going to fill out, well, you'll fill out a page saying who all the contributors are. And then if you come into this, it'll tell you whether they've completed it or if they're still working on it. So when you come in to try to submit it, it's going to tell you whether everyone is answered or not. You won't be able to answer until they have completed that. And so then the owner will come in once that's completed. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. This is where you add the individual. So you'll add a board member. If you don't have additional board members, you can move on to the next one. And this is where once you've completed the application, and anyone else that's on the board or has a say in the business, once they've completed all of their information, the woman who owns the business must come in and do the attestation and submission. I have a hard time with that word. So what you're going to do is read all of this information, and you'll click each of the dots to say you agree with that. And then when you go back to your main page, it's going to say your application was submitted. And then I think
we got some questions here if you'd like.
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
Lorette is asking, where do we go to understand the financials prior to the yes or no on the EDWOSB part?
Well, again, that's, you need to know the program requirements. So you can go to the knowledge base on the site and download that guide, and it will tell you how to understand that. I also did another webinar where I went through each thing. Because remember, today we're just going through the application. So yeah, you can either watch that webinar or you can go to the Beta.certify and go to their knowledge base, and it'll outline everything that you need.
Okay, great. Let me answer that.
Was that the other
and
one?
This was, I believe, answered in your recent section, but it could be a chance for review.
Okay.
So what if you have a 50-50 partnership and both are women?
Yeah, then that's fine, because it's woman owned. It's 100% woman owned.
So
you just both have to fill out an application.
Right. All right.
One of you will have to fill out the main application, and the other can fill out as that second part, a contributor.
All right, great. And one more question here from Cynthia. How long does it take to certify after the application is submitted? That's a good question.
That's a good question. Well, it just depends. The favorite answer in contracting, it depends. If all of your documents are correct, hopefully it won't take too long. It could take up to 6 months, depending on their backlog at SBA or whether they have to go back and forth with you on your documents. That's why I say it's really a good idea to work with your PTAC counselor, have them review your documents, have them walk through the application with you. I think you'll have better success if you have someone help you, someone who knows and has been in here quite a while. So I'm going to say at this point, 6 months to get it done. I think Darlene just mentioned when we were speaking before the program that she's had some that has taken 6 months.
You're right. Yeah.
Is that all the questions I want
to? Someone's asking for the link for the other webinar that went into financial requirements.
Yeah, it's at the end of this. When you get the slides, it's in the resources page.
Yeah, and I can send that link right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Was that the one that you did in November or the one in May?
It was in May. That was the last one I did.
Great.
With the most update. Yeah, with the most updated information.
Great. All right, thanks. That's all for now.
Okay, all right. So then I just want to go in what you have to submit for the EDWSB. So that first section was just if you're going to do a WSB. So when you're doing the EDWSB, you have to do that whole first section, and then you go into your financials. So I just want to give you an idea of what all you have to submit for your financials. And so the first question says, do financial records show that she is economically disadvantaged? So you're going to have to upload your last 3 W-2s, your schedule, your federal tax reform. Gosh, I can't talk today. Federal tax return form, and your 4506T if you have one, and your spouse's information. So down here, you'll click each one of these and you'll upload that documentation. For the net worth, you're going to have to certify that you have less than $750,000, excluding your ownership interest in the business and your equity interest in your primary personal residence. So we're kind of getting into the financials here. Is the applicant's adjusted gross income averaged over the previous 3 years at or less than $350,000? So you're just saying yes or no to these. If you say no to these, then you're not going to qualify for EDWSB. And then we get into adjusted gross income again. Let's see. Doesn't exceed $350,000. However, the woman can show that 1, the income level was unusual, unlikely to occur in the future, and the losses and commensurate with and directly related to earnings were suffered, or that the income is not indicative of a lack of economic disadvantage. So you'll just attest if you have over the 350, but maybe you got an inheritance or you won the lottery, you can say that your adjusted gross income, something made that to increase and it's not what you actually have. Okay, and then you're going to say, you're going to confirm that you didn't transfer any assets 2 years before the date of your EDWSB. Okay, and then here's the additional financial details. You're going to have to provide them with a sum of all currency that you have on hand. Your other sources of income, provide sums of all currency that are not on deposit with the financial institution. Any notes receivable, written promise to receive money. Retirement accounts will not be used to calculate personal net worth, and it must be the current statement. Life insurance, if it has a cash surrender value, this is all part of your financial income. Stocks and bonds and mutual funds, their market value. So you'll need something from your accountant or stockbroker. They want to know your real estate, your primary residence, its worth. Any other real estate that's not your primary residence. Any of your personal property, vehicles, and other personal property. Anything that's a value over $2,500, that counts as your personal net worth. Notes payable and other liabilities, your credit card payments, your personal lines of credit, your mortgage, your vehicle. And then any assessed taxes, any past due federal, state, county, and city taxes. And that's just taxes that are unpaid. And then they want your personal tax return for the last 3 years. Once you upload all those financials, then you'll go through the same thing. You'll go to the long column where you mark the blocks, and then you'll submit it. So that kind of goes through what financials you need. Was there any questions on that section?
We do have a couple questions.
Okay.
Laura's asking, does spouse's income count towards the applicant's income?
It usually counts if the spouse has contributed to the business. I think that's the line that they take. Okay. They still want it, and if he's contributing to your business, then that's gonna be take effect of increasing your your income and your, excuse me, your net worth.
Okay. And Laura's asking, how is a primary residence value estimated if you have a mortgage?
I'm not sure on that one.
Okay.
That would be something that we look into.
If you have any questions that we're not able to answer here, that's bound to happen sometimes. So go ahead and you can just email us at info@norcalptac.org and we'll look into it, or apply for your local PTAC, because some of these questions, you really have to get in under the hood and take a look.
Yeah, and I haven't really had anyone ask me that question before. I just assume it's, I just assume it's the value of the home. I don't know if they take into consideration that you have a mortgage or not. Yeah. I don't think they do. I don't know if Darlene knows the answer to that.
It's the value of the home.
Just the value, right? The straight value. Doesn't matter.
Regardless of whether you own it outright or you have a mortgage.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right.
Okay.
Okay.
It seemed like it'd be a big difference if you owned a $500,000 home outright or not, but
yeah.
or if you just put down the down payment, you're just getting started on the mortgage. But,
yeah.
Okay.
It seems like it would be the equity, not the. Maybe they take the equity into consideration. I don't know. I'll take a note and look that up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Was that the last one? Sorry.
Well, someone's asking for a cheat sheet on it, but I'm not sure if we have anything that.
You'd have to go and I'm going to show the page in a minute when I get to the summary, and I'll show you where you can go look things up.
Great. And you'll have the links once we send up the.
Yeah, they're in the resources. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So once you've been certified, your SBA profile and DSBS, and I put a link here for DSBS, which stands for Dynamic Small Business Search. In that system, the SBA, it's also called your SBA profile. You set it up when you went into SAM. This is where the SBA is going to notify everybody that you are a woman-owned small business. So you can see right here, the one I pulled, it says, yes, you're certified, and the date that you were certified. This is where contracting officers go to make sure you're certified when they're going to award you a contract that's set aside for woman-owned small business. You should get an email, or I don't think they send letters anymore. I think it's just an email saying that you're certified. There's no certification number, and there's no certificate that you hang on the wall. It's just the date you were certified, and that's it. If you are in the process, you can always go and check your status in the WOSB Beta.certify, but it'll also put on here pending. So if this is marked pending and you put in to get a set aside for woman-owned small business, and the contractor is saying you won, but I don't have your status as a woman-owned small business, and it says yes pending, the contracting officer can notify SBA that you have an award pending, and then they will go through and expedite your certification. Okay, well, I already said this. They don't issue an actual certificate or number. The contracting officer will look in DSBS to see if you're certified. Once you're certified, you can add the nice little icon to your capability statement, your website, or any other marketing documents you have. They do have an EDWOSB one too. I didn't download that one. Okay, annual updates. So on the first and second year of your anniversary, you have to go in and do your annual update. When you go in, you will click on the application and it will say annual update. So you'll click on that and you'll go in and just attest again that everything is still the same, and you're good to go. It does that the first and the second year. But I do have to say right now, I know none of you have applied, but right now they're having a problem with the annual update, of course. They've had problems with this system since it started. So right now, people who are certified can't do their annual update. So they keep pushing it out. So right now, I think it was August 1st that they have to have their annual update done, but I'm sure they're going to push it out another month. It's just the way it's been. It's been that way since I think May or June, where you haven't been able to do your annual update. So we were talking a lot of clients through this right now. And I know Darlene is dealing with a lot of clients that are in this situation as well. Okay, recertify, you have to be certified on your 3rd anniversary. So when you go in, it'll no longer say annual update, it will say recertification. So for the recertification, you're going to have to upload new relevant documents. So if there's been any changes in the business, any amendments, if you're EDWOSB, you're going to have to put new financials in, load up new owners or board members, and they're all going to have to certify too. And my mouse quit working there. Okay. Okay, then the other thing they do are material changes. So if anytime, after you've done your anniversary or 2nd anniversary, or if anything comes up, you're going to have to go in and report it as a material change. I know this is a little fuzzy, but when you're on the application page, if you click on actions, it's going to say report a material change. So you'll just do that. If there's amendment to the company, anything that's going to cause maybe some issues of whether you're still a woman-owned small business, you're going to want to report that within 30 days. Okay, here's the, just one sec, my mouse quit working. I want to, okay, yes. All right, we're back. Okay, so this is the Beta certified knowledge base that I was talking about. So, and I put a link, that orange at the top where it says Beta.certify knowledge base. You can click on that and it'll take you in there. But I just want to highlight, so when you see forms right here, it says certify external checklist. You're going to want to download that. That's going to go through kind of what I went through today, telling you all the documents and everything that you need, as well as the applicant user guide. So if you're considering doing this, go ahead and download the applicant user guide and the external checklist, so you can know what documents that you need. And over here, the training media, they also have some videos and information on applying and submitting. So I recommend you go through those as well. Educate yourself as much as possible on the application. They have a lot of information here. Under the facts, these are kind of problems that they've run into. Before, there used to be hardly anything on this page, and now you see they have all kinds of this, the facts that are general FOB and then application process related. So these are issues that have come up that they have to answer. So that's that. So just, go out and check everything. Take a view at it, especially if you're going to go do this on your own. I recommend you go through and look at everything. But I highly recommend you work with a PTAC. I mean, even if you only sign up for PTAC services just to do the application, it takes a huge pressure off you and the headache off of you of going through it. Our services are free. We have counselors that do this application every day. And so we're more than happy to help you, as well as Darlene's center is happy to help as well. So there is help out there. Don't pull your hair out. We're here to help. And then my last page here is that resources page, that very first one, the Women-Owned Business Federal Contracting Program. That is a link to the actual SBA site that talks about the program. And on there, you'll be able to see all the financials for the EDWOSB. So take a look at that. I know someone was interested in like the full, what are the full financial information? You can find all that out there. I'm going to skip the next for now. The applicant user guide, I did put a link for the applicant user guide, but you saw it on that knowledge base page as well. And then the last one is my the webinar that I did in May over the program, kind of running over all the information on that. And then I just want I didn't get into NAICS codes in this one because I just wanted to get through the program or the presentation. So WOSB and EDWOSB, the set-asides for government contracting, they're based on your NAICS. So I put the table, link to the table here. Go and make sure your primary NAICS code is covered in there, because only certain NAICS codes are covered for the set-aside program. And especially the EDWOSB, I just want to talk about that for a minute. Check the NAICS table. If your NAICS does not say EDWOSB next to it, then don't go through the bother of uploading all your financials and everything. Just do the WOSB. It's not going to get you ahead anyway to get the EDWOSB if there's no set aside for you. So first thing I would do if you're considering the woman-owned small business is to check the NAICS table, check your primary NAICS. If it just says WOSB next to it, just do the WOSB application. There's no point in opening yourself up with all your financials and everything like that if your NAICS isn't even an EDWOSB NAICS. I explain more of this in that webinar, but I just wanted to hit on that today a little bit. And I see we're getting close to time. Let's see. Did we want to do that last poll while you talk about the upcoming?
Sure, yeah, I can go ahead and launch the second. We've got a follow-up poll here, just saying, after this webinar, do you feel better prepared to go for the WOSB certification? Yes, getting there, not quite, no longer interested, or not applicable. And I just want to talk that this is today's the last webinar before August. We are going to be having a 3-part webinar series celebrating Black Business Month here at PTAC. So we're really excited to put on this trio of webinars. We're going to kick it off next week, August 4th, Thursday, same time, 10 a.m., a certification overview for Black-owned businesses. So Thomas Burns will be going through different certifications that may be relevant or eligible for you if you are African American and own a business, especially in California. Then we're going to follow up with 2 webinars on topics they're going to be briefly covered in the intro webinar: how to get DBE certified, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. That's Thursday, August 18th, and then how to get 8A certified, which Nancy touched on briefly today, and that's a whole other topic and application as well, which can help your WOSB application. And that's on Thursday, August 25th at 10 a.m. So you can find all of these events and more on our calendar, norcalptac.org/calendar. You can see at the bottom. And we're always going to be putting on more, so keep updated. All right.
Okay.
And I think looks like we have, let me see. All right. Loretta's saying, glad to know their support. We're getting some thank yous in the chat.
Okay.
But I don't see any questions right now, and we're right at about 11. So since we've had plenty of Q&A sessions, let's go ahead and call it quits. Thank you so much, Darlene.
Can we publish the poll?
What did you say?
Can we publish the poll?
Oh, I can publish the poll. That's
I want to
right,
see how many people I turned off of doing the application.
Yeah. All right, I'll end it.
Hopefully nobody. Hopefully nobody.
You know what? It could be worse. Only one person is no longer interested, but that may be because they're simply not eligible. We don't really know. But we hope it wasn't a waste of your time today. But most people, 82% said yes.
Okay, awesome.
12% said getting there. So
don't be afraid. Come to PTAC. Come to Darlene. We'll help you.
Yes, we are here to help.
Right. It's certainly a process, but you got a lot of help on your side. So we want to help little folks get there. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thanks for Nancy for putting on all this work and putting this research together, and Amanda for working in the back end of things. So
Thanks,
really
Amanda.
appreciate everyone. So we'll see you at future webinars.
Have a
Thank
good
you
day.
all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.